adversity? Bring it. The struggle? We welcome it. Snooze on life? Never that. We are Dave Regina and Mike Pirelli, and this is the No Snooze Podcast. Come on.
Welcome back to the No Snooze Podcast. This is the Double Nickel episode.
I had double nickels
Did you
down.
write it?
I was going to say that.
Took it from me. Episode 55. I'm Mike Pirelli. This is my co-host, Dave Regina. CV on the ones and twos with the audio and visual. And on No Snooze, we document our journey to be better as fathers, husbands, and professionals. And today, I'm coming in super hot. I would love to talk about a current event to kick us off, Bitcoin.
Okay.
Which has been in the news. I've ignored it forever. I want to talk about Google.
Okay.
I want to talk, obviously, body fat loss.
Beautiful.
Because we are in the last push, and I'm getting a little nervous.
We're getting low.
My cortisol, which is stress, has skyrocketed.
Yep.
Because I'm like, we only have this much time, and I've just been talking about it and replaying it in my head.
Yep.
And then we're going to touch on decision-making.
Beautiful.
Do you like that lineup?
I love it.
You should. You came up with it.
And
so.
I will throw some, jabs in.
Okay.
Jab, right hook to throw us off. I got some good stuff in here as well. So you want to start with Bitcoin. Talk to me. One, do you know where Bitcoin is at today?
It's probably like 54. It moves a lot. 54,000 a coin.
54,000 a coin. Right
Okay.
now, can we confirm Google?
I could look up quick.
Can
Hold on.
we get a Google on that? And the only thing personally for me with Bitcoin, and it's not a knock to anybody that invests because clearly a lot of people are making a ton of money on it. And I believe that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is part of the future. It's very obvious.
What is that?
What does it say?
51,000.
Right. This thing has jumped. I mean, you're talking 20,000 even in the past 30 days probably.
And I want to give a special shout out to Angelo, Modern
Yep.
Moolah.
Yes.
He has his YouTube channel. I've watched a little bit of his stuff. This has been kind of a culmination of a lot of research, but
Yep.
go ahead. So do you own
Yes.
any Bitcoin?
No, so personally, and what I was going to say is personally I don't. That's why I was saying it's not a knock to anybody because I respect what everybody is doing, especially one of my best friends, Angelo LaRoche.
Yes.
He's been killing it with Tesla, Bitcoin, putting out a lot of good content there. But for me, I'm not knowledgeable enough on it, and I don't have the time. Again, you can always make time for things you want to make time for.
We set ourselves up
Right.
where we say stuff, and then we say something against it, and then we correct ourselves.
No, it's the truth, though.
No, it is.
Right?
I
Like,
agree with
to
you.
me, in my head, I don't have time to be researching and doing Bitcoin stuff, even though it could potentially make me a lot of money.
Yeah.
I have my money invested in a lot of other things, especially through the job with my deferred compensation.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
something that I have. I studied for years, and it's to the point now that I even give our team, the training on deferred compensation. So I invest in the stock market, but Bitcoin specifically, just being transparent, I think it's going to be huge, clearly, and I think cryptocurrency is the future. I'm just behind on that.
Which I totally respect, and I'm in kind of the same boat. And I want to preface this by saying we have chapters if you're watching on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and then you could jump around on our topics because some people, your eyes might be glazing over with the Bitcoin talk. So you can jump to the Podbod if you want to hear about our beautiful washboard abs. And this is not investing advice. I've seen a lot of videos and a lot of disclosures. We do not give investing advice. We don't claim to. We're just going to tell you what we personally think.
Yep.
In no efforts to kind of manipulate or condemn you guys doing it. That being said, so I had a vision shift on what Bitcoin and the whole technology and the movement is about.
Okay.
I follow Millennial Money. I follow a couple big people that are younger millionaires that made their money through YouTube and real estate. Because my thought is, like, if I'm following their trajectory, they're seeing things and adjusting a little ahead of me. And even if I'm late, 90% of the people aren't watching them are going to be a little later than I am, right?
Right.
Because once everyone knows, then no one knows. So the thing that I think you said is really smart is that it's everything I buy, I plan on holding forever, right? I'm not in the day trading space. Something I love about real estate is that when you buy it, it's a long-term investment. You can try to flip things, but the longer your trajectory for investment in general, the easier it is to make money, right? In theory. The other thing is if you have a hard asset, then you're able to borrow money against it in the future. So not only is it, you're building equity, but you also have kind of this little savings account that you can pull from in case of emergency, in case of an additional investment. You never want to over leverage yourself. I don't want to get too complicated, but that's like my general theory. Real estate is still my North Star, but I'm kind of at the position in my career where I have a little extra cash, or we have a little extra cash. We're getting ready to buy our next property, which is in its own account. And then I have this other money where I'm watching the market print money left and right, which in theory is burning up all my money, right? So I'm not saying it's a ton of money, but I don't like to lose money. And there's a book, The Richest Man in Babylon. The whole concept is like, make your money make money. That's the whole thing.
Yep.
Cash is just, it's good, it has value, but the more that's printed, and you can see it in the sales prices of houses, the less valuable the cash is. So people are trying to deploy it into an asset that if the market rises, the asset will rise. Who knows what's going to happen with the stock market? So Bitcoin, originally I thought it was just like another currency. And the whole thing I was looking at was like, is it a currency that's going to replace the dollar? The shift that's happened, and I mean, I'm not going to take credit for it, but like Elon Musk investing into it, a lot of big hedge funds investing into it. I started to watch some more episodes of just YouTube channels. There's a guy, BitBoy, who explains it.
Yep.
And basically what I took from it is that it's basically buying like digital property, right? Bitcoin is the golden boy of the crypto craze and the original. The thing that Bitcoin has, that real estate has that I like is there's a finite amount, right? There's a finite amount of land. So when scarcity is available and demand is increasing, the prices are going to increase. It's just like basic economics. Then I heard a billionaire talk about it, and he's like, listen, think about this. He goes, if I told you Manhattan, there's each plot of land is Bitcoin, right? One. And there's a finite amount of 121 million. And every year, someone loses their key to their lot of land, and that can never be found again. So he's like, technically, the scarcity is going up, not only because they're discovering more coins every year and putting them into the system, but it's getting harder to mine them, and people are losing them at a crazy rate.
Yep.
So he's like, just looking at it in that sense, if Bitcoin is still, like if enough companies buy into it and it becomes like the dollar, then those people, like an Elon Musk, is not going to let it go to zero, right?
Of course.
So that kind of made me
you
be
saw
like,
once he invested in Bitcoin, what happened?
yeah. So my thought's like, all right, so let's in theory say it's not going to go to zero. It could, right? It could go to zero. Then I'm like, all right, well, what's interesting about it? So I started doing research. Basically, it's a faster way to, or not faster, a more efficient, decentralized way to transfer monies, right? So in my head, I'm like, well, I was really interested in gold before all of this took place, and I had some of it. My issue was storing it, and I was like, gold, like I can't, like if I go to Puerto Rico and flee the States with my family, it's very difficult to get gold across borders. Bitcoin solves that because you can literally just pick it up wherever you're going, and it's not controlled by the government if you're truly taking it off a platform. So I'm like,
But speaking of gold, right? Gold is not even, I mean, Bitcoin is not even close to where gold is, though.
As far as what?
In terms of the investment and the longevity of gold. Like, gold has been around forever. If you listen, and if you listen to Tony Robbins, right?
Yeah, I like Tony Robbins. I love gold.
Uncle Tony's gold. If go look at the numbers, I don't want to speak wrongly on the numbers.
No.
But the trajectory of where gold has gone is not even close to where.
In a good way or bad way?
It'd be better to, in the long haul, invest in the gold for those who have done it.
Yeah, and I'm not saying
versus new Bitcoin. And the problem is with our millennium, I guess our millennials.
Millennium school.
Yeah, millennium money.
Millennium Falcons.
Right. Millennials. Gold is old money, right?
So
Bitcoin is
ready?
new money.
I'm gonna try to, and I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just trying to give you facts because this is kind of what happened with me. Because I was never against Bitcoin, but I was like, I just don't have the time to learn it. And then some things happened financially where I'm like, listen, I need to figure it out because I don't want to get left behind. And a small investment, a small amount of my portfolio, the risk is low.
Yes.
If I burn it.
Agreed.
But the reward is super high. If it could go to where people speculate, right?
The first $100,000 coin.
So gold, right? It's a lot of it's old money. Do we have any of our friends that have gold?
Any of our friends. That
And
have
we'll
gold.
never. I'm never going to
I don't know.
disclose the amount of stuff.
Yep.
I'll do like percentages.
Right. So I mean, on a small level, yeah,
Yes,
a couple.
people, right?
Yeah.
What do you think's easier for people to wrap their head around? Learning a little bit of Bitcoin or
Absolutely.
learning how to buy gold, which I've done it, and it's just as clunky
Yep.
as Coinbase. You hop on an app,
Mm-hmm.
you punch in what you want. There is
Yep.
a settlement date, but then the gold or the Bitcoin's in your thing.
Absolutely.
So here's
I agree with you on that.
Here's another thing, right? So I'm like, all right, well, gold. Our era is probably going to go Bitcoin over gold. That's my guess.
100%.
Then on top of that, some people with gold, they're going to be like, I don't want to store gold is very expensive.
Yep.
And I don't know all these details. I'm just speculating. Store gold's expensive. To transfer, it's difficult. Bitcoin's a lot easier, right? So I could see them moving, and a lot of money from gold has moved into Bitcoin because people are starting to see it as a store of value versus a currency.
Yes.
Something you could pull against, an asset.
Yes,
like
an asset.
real estate.
Yep. Correct.
So then I'm like, all right, so if it's technically like a little more efficient than gold, there's a finite amount, people are losing it every year, and people are starting to learn it every year.
Mm-hmm.
And the big banks are starting to put out what's called stablecoin. So stablecoin is basically the digital version of the dollar, right?
Correct.
In the short term. So I'm like, all right, so when you go to your bank and someone's like, all right, here's cash. You can put your money in a regular savings account, or you can put it in this digital currency that gives you interest because they're trying to push people towards that way.
Yep.
Everyone's gonna be like, well, I'll take the 6-7% over 2 or 1. So I'm like, oh wow, like that could be wild. Like if the banks start pushing that,
Yep.
that's gonna be insane.
And even I mean, local vendors are accepting Bitcoin now. You see that?
Yeah, the
That's on
acceptance of-
that's on the actual currency basis.
Yeah,
You know
that
what I mean?
stuff's interesting. Like
Yep.
I know Tesla's accepting. That's all cool. So all of this stuff I'm thinking about, I'm like, you know what? Like if I personally think on all these things that I've heard about,
Yep.
that if you take a long position in Bitcoin, I think it's cheap right now because of the majority of people you ask aren't in it, don't have it. There's a finite amount, and it's getting harder every year. The big thing that actually got me being like, wow, I need to jump in and start deploying. It's called cost averaging, where you just buy a little every week or
Yep.
day. This guy was saying, like, listen, every 4 years, there's a clear cycle that happens. Between those years, it's crazy volatile, which we've seen. But he's like, every 4 years, usually there's a big movement because the algorithm, whatever they made, it's like a math equation, says that it gets, it cuts the profits in half. So it gets twice as more difficult to mine it, is my understanding. So
Okay.
every 4 years, they're theorizing that it's going to double in price.
Yep.
So I'm like, if you told me in 5 years, if I put in whatever, X, it's going to double, I'm like, okay, so I'll put in a little bit. I'll put it into a BlockFi, which allows you, this really put me over the edge, gives you 6% on your money if you just store it with them. So you could buy it right on there,
And then
keep
you're
it in there,
automatically
and it's
getting
adding
6%.
6%, right? On
Every year.
top of that,
Every year.
it's like a monthly, it's APY, but it comes out to 6 a year.
Gotcha. Yep.
On top of that, they let you borrow $100,000 out of your Bitcoin. So I'm like, I could have this kind of hedged like bet. If the money goes to zero, burn it, or who cares? But also, it could be an asset in the future where I'm borrowing against because they're just going to keep adding amount of money you can pull as it stabilizes, and I'll have this whole other asset that I can pull money out of and buy actual real estate with.
Beautiful.
So that's kind of the big game plan.
Yep.
I'm not saying go do it, but I'm saying mark my words today
Yeah.
is going to be I started. So I'll slowly be deploying, anywhere from like 1 to 2% of my portfolio. And the whole point of this is that it took me a while to get to this decision, but I caught myself being like, it's too complicated. It's too complicated. And in my head, I'm like, well, that's what the internet was. It was too complicated to put their head around.
Oh yeah, people will definitely get left behind, and potentially see for me.
But I think there's a lot of time.
Yeah. Oh, there's definitely time.
Yeah.
I think you had a nice discussion just
Did
now.
that make sense? at
It
all?
did for sure. I'm happy to become knowledgeable. Again,
I would say
I don't
just look at it.
Again, I don't know anything about it. I personally invest about 12% of my income in my portfolio. So I'm not at a place right now that I'd be willing to take a bunch of extra risks, right? Like I like to stay in my lane and kind of hone that and be consistent with that flow. Again, I can, and very well knowingly that I know that I could be put out, tomorrow
Yeah.
and made a really bad decision. Talk about decision making and not investing, but that's a risk that I'm willing to take because I'm not losing anything by not doing that. I'm still consistently investing in my other things. But I like what you're saying. I think if people want to take the I don't want to say advice, but the information, information that you're putting out, I think it's great.
My plea is to try to learn about it. I think some stuff where it's the thing that I worry about the dollar is they can just print it. Mm-hmm. So the coins that don't have a finite amount, where people can just keep making it, worry me. Gotcha. So I'm sticking to the poster boy that if you're a novice investor and you want to dip your toe into it, like our parents, people that go to those bank accounts and hear about stablecoin, I think they're going to go to the poster boy, the one with the best marketing, which is Bitcoin.
Yeah, and I have a lot of friends that are doing extremely well in Bitcoin. Extremely well.
I think if a lot of people can hold off on using the coin and see it as an asset over a means of money to buy things, I think they'll do well. But it's going to be hard because there's going to be a lot of fortunes made.
Funny. You're bringing back you are now the finance of the...
It's full circle. But
fitness and finance.
It's just something, honestly, I've been thinking about. A short thing on Google.
Yeah.
So I don't want to do it. I'm also thinking about little, I have we do index funds because it's, again, just kind of a long-term play.
Yep.
There's a dividend that is in compound interest happens. But I want to go into Google once the market corrects, if it corrects. But I'll start dollar cost averaging to that. And the reason why is I'm going to ask you two questions.
Go ahead.
What's the number one search engine in the world?
The number one search engine in the world, Google.
What's the second search engine in the world?
Bing.
Oh, I don't. YouTube.
YouTube, okay.
Who owns both? Google.
Yeah.
So they are the number one.
Do you know what Google is?
It's, the ticker?
The term Google.
I don't.
So Google is an infinite amount of numbers.
Okay.
It's a number that's so big.
That's pretty good.
I know exactly where he knows that from.
From you? Oh, okay.
I gave that to our staff to put on the board all around the building.
I love learning that.
That he consumed that information. But Google, people are like, what is Google, right? Like, what is that? It's a number that's so large you really can't even comprehend it. So makes sense because you type something in Google and you have.
I don't know what the price is on Google, but compared to a lot of its counterparts, I see it as like a stable place. YouTube, I think YouTube might pass the Google search engine
for the future, right?
Yeah, just because people are visual. The amount of fortunes that have been made on YouTube this year because everyone was stuck home is.
What's the youngest person? 4 years old or something?
It's wild.
Well, that's why I love what you're doing with YouTube, man.
We're getting there.
Except for, I have a question. Why do you put googly eyes on us every episode on YouTube?
Do well.
Is it a thing? Did you see my message to you the other day?
No.
I was asking. I'm like, why do we always have the goofiest eyes on YouTube? Like one time you put bagels, one time you put coins.
I literally just
this one will be bitcoins on the eyes.
I look what hits and like. The couple I don't know if it's that reason, but a couple times that does well.
Yeah, all right. So, I was just curious about it.
So those are my two things I've been thinking about.
I love it, man. This is good stuff. I'm curious to know, keep us updated as you delve into the journey of Bitcoin. Again, something that I'm super interested in, but at this time I'm not willing to I don't have enough funding to pull my money out of where it's already invested. And again, it's a risk that I'm willing to take because I could very well in 20 years from now be like, damn, I should have done
in simple
Bitcoin.
terms, right? If you have a little extra cash, my thought is like if someone told me you can earn 6% and then there's an upside of potential, it sounds scammy, but an upside of $1 million a coin at some point. If I can accumulate one coin in the whole time, like over
absolutely
the next 4 years before there's a potential bump. As far as using that asset to buy other things with, I think it's interesting. I think blockchain, the technology behind it will take over everything. But I just can't see banks saying, all right, we're going to use Bitcoin to pay things. But I can see people forever saying, screw the man, I'm owning Bitcoin.
Or it could go to zero.
And then this whole conversation will clip and be like, I was wrong.
No, but it's all good. I love the information. So switching over to the fitness piece.
Yeah, let's
right?
get a little
that was finance. Let's go Podbot update.
That was a good one. That was fun, that whole section.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. I love things that I can become knowledgeable on. Again, that I'm invested in a I guess a plethora of things.
Yeah, you're a lot more diverse than I am, so I'm like, you know what? I got to look at
now that you're bringing this finance piece, something for me, especially in being in public service, it's kind of funky to talk about. Real estate is one thing, but then for me to get specific about my index funds and
we don't have to get specific.
No,
just,
but I also
overall theories and philosophies.
Yes, and I do like that. So a low number that we're looking to get to. I mean, we were talking about, listen, 10% on your money is great.
It's a lot.
But 10% body fat is even better.
Pretty good.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
pretty good.
So that's the goal. We're striving for this 10%. I got back on the in-body, and my results were, I was happy with them, but I did decrease in weight, lost half a pound of muscle, right? Actually, almost a full pound from my last weigh-in. Could be to do with the timing of the weigh-in.
Yeah, that's always tricky.
Which is okay. I'm okay with it. But then the body fat decreased from 11.7 down to 11.3. So I'm still trending downward.
Yeah,
which
is the right way.
the goal. 55 workouts into my 200 and what was it? 260. 52 times
247, I thought.
Is it?
I thought you put like an odd number. I don't remember it being like a
Well,
round
what is
number.
no?
I could be wrong.
What is 50 times? Yeah, calculator me, please.
I could be very wrong.
52 times 5 workouts a week.
Dude,
It's
wrong guy.
260 workouts, right?
There can't be a 7 in there.
260 workouts.
Yeah,
there we go.
260. You know better than I know. I was just
So 55 workouts in. The problem is we only have 33 days to go, Michael.
that's a big problem for me.
So
But you're close. Like, what do you think? Are you like, I got this in the bag?
10% I got in the bag. If I don't get it in the bag, I might jump off a bridge. But but no, I'm kidding aside there. But I expect myself to definitely get to 10%. If I don't, that would be an extreme disappointment. Again, I wouldn't consider it a failure because
I would consider it a failure.
No, because I started out at 14, and if I'm getting down and I lost everything and I came in at 10.2, I'm still way lower than what I was. To me,
it's
failing,
progress, but you failed a goal.
but failing.
I
is,
love how he doesn't like
failing
it. I'm
is
gonna
giving
get
up.
him to be like,
no, I to me, failing. I'm in control of failure.
within your time frame you gave your SMART goal. SMART doesn't extend past the time.
But I can
You're
set
the
it.
one who says that.
Yeah, no, it's a timeline, but I can
It's
adjust
a
the
timeline.
T.
But that's not a goal because you don't have a time.
I didn't achieve the goal.
Yes,
not
you
about
failed
fit,
at
nah,
achieving the
I don't
goal.
like. I'm not.
Look
I'm
up
never
definition
giving
of
up.
fail. But anyway,
I look
agree
at
to
my
disagree on that.
failures
But
to,
anyway, so
come back stronger.
anything short of 10 would be a fall. But you are confident that you're going to hit it.
Yes.
Okay. Special shout out to my guy Mike at GNC. Just didn't want to
Mike or Manny?
Mike. Manny's Fridays.
Oh.
Mike was Saturdays.
Manny Fridays
Yeah.
and Mike on
Mike Saturday. I didn't get there Friday.
Beautiful.
I forget what happened, but
Yes.
anyway, any
how
other
we doing?
new wrinkles to the workouts?
No. So wrinkles to the workout.
Diet
no.
looks good. Your diet looks solid.
Well, my diet, it's easy. I got to be honest.
you
with
got
you.
that Sammy with the.
yeah.
I've been copying you, but
It's-
I go smoke salmon.
It's too easy.
So I'm not cooking.
The diet itself is too easy. Talk about decision making. I've come to the conclusion that 80 to 85% of my decisions are already made.
Yeah,
Right?
which is
Like,
the
I get- that's the
your
wave that-
processes
Yes.
are in place where your decision making is limited, where that stacks the chips in your favor.
Exactly, and that's what I'm trying to do. Just in every aspect of my life. But
Any cheat days?
Again, the systems. Last week, what did I have? I think we did pizza. I do pizza every week, just because that's like if I could have one cheat, I think I would just love to smash pizza.
Smash pizza
You know,
is an aggressive terminology.
But I think Mom is going to come over on the weekend. Might make a pot of gravy.
Okay.
And again, gravy is different than sauce because gravy includes meat, right? She put a little ribs in there. She put some meatballs, some sausage.
So are you increasing anything into the end of this, or you're just kind of staying steady?
So what I'm doing is making sure that I hit my level of protein, which happens to be around 300 grams for the day.
I thought I was eating a lot.
Which happens to be at 300 grams for the day. Carbs, a little less than 100 right now.
Okay.
So I'm on target from really where I was, but just tightening,
You're tightening everything up.
And then at 2 weeks out, I will get on that in-body.
See, this is what I want to
And
see.
if I need to make an adjustment, the adjustment that I will make is burning an additional 300 calories at night.
So you'll add that second workout.
I would add that, not a workout. That would be like a low intensity thing.
Yeah, which
right.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we will see.
And will you do that on the bike, or
we'll
you gonna,
kind of gauge it?
walk, or
Yeah,
what?
no, I would either do it on the treadmill,
Okay.
or on the bike.
Okay, I like that. I like the strategy. I'm confident in you. We talked about the cheat meal. I got hit with a double header last week until Mike sent you.
Yep.
I double booked by accident. Ended
Double
up with a Nashville hot chicken sandwich called the OG Heat at Garden Catering.
Wow.
The best chicken sandwich I've ever had.
Not for nothing, CV.
I'm 100%.
Are you getting
serious.
a little offended by all this food talk, and he doesn't bring us anything?
Well,
right?
it's
Oh,
not.
CV's
it's
not
not
on the
on
mic today.
brand.
I think you can hear me from far away.
No, I don't
It's
think
not
so.
on brand. So that was the first one.
Yep.
So it was
He's always on brand, by the way.
yeah, that's true. That was a hot. That was a spicy menu item. Then right after, I had a pork tacos at El Chalito. My
Ooh.
guy Carlos hooked me up. Nicest guy of all time.
Carlos at El Chalito.
Yeah.
I'm going there just because
Little
of the name.
dive spot in Riverside. You would never notice it. I didn't know he was there. He's like, listen, this is authentic. He said authentic Mexican food. And he hooked me up with some hot sauce. So hot.
Ooh.
That's how I knew it was good. I'm like, this is my guy. Food was phenomenal. Brought home a torta.
A torta.
For Dana, steak torta.
Oh.
Unbelievable. I had a unbelievable day of eating.
I love it.
But never doing it back to back again because I couldn't see straight. So Friday, that's why I weighed in Saturday, right?
Yep.
So I'm like, let me weigh in Saturday, give myself a little more time to snap back. I still, with that day, dropped to 15.1. So I wasn't at 15. So I went from 15.7.
Yep.
I was really hoping for 15. And when it broke 15, I was like, oh, all is lost. But then it stopped at 1. I'm like, I'm back.
That's beautiful.
I'm back.
See, but again, that goes to my point of like in your mind, if you set yourself up for failure being a negative thing, you might use it as motivation.
Yes.
For me, I don't thrive off of hearing a fail because I want to be in control of the fail. If I quit, that's when I fail.
So I agree with you. So I've stuck to my rules that I talked about last week. If you haven't watched, go watch.
Beautiful.
And instead of watching the fitness stuff, I've been watching the Bitcoin stuff. And
Nice.
that's why it's made space for a little bit of that.
Wait, you were watching Bitcoin stuff? We couldn't tell.
Oh, yeah. So what else happened? So, yeah, same stuff. Like we said last time, I'm upping the steps to 15 a day. I have not hit it because my watch died 2 days because it's not used to just the steam coming off from steps.
I got you.
I tried to put in 10 before the episode today, but Livy woke up a little early. I'm gonna if I have to hit 1% a week
To get there.
and that's including the final weigh-in. If I'm like at 11, the next weigh-in has to be 10. I have one shot
to get there.
unless I put in a phenomenal week where like I drop 2 because work's insane. I don't eat and I'm just walking constantly and somehow retain muscle. So kind of looking for a big momentum change. Like in a football game, it'd be a pick 6
Okay.
to bring the momentum back.
Okay.
So this weigh-in, the next weigh-in, some would say would be the most important. And I don't know if I want to do it with my guy Manny or my guy Mike, or I might call them and say, I need both of you to show up because I need you this month. So I'm excited. I'm stressed. I'm worried.
That's awesome. And we also have a potential partnership coming up with with GNC, so that's pretty good news.
So I was talking this guy's ear off for like 20 minutes, and he's like, wait, you do what? You what podcast, this and that? And he's like, I checked it out. I really liked it, et cetera, et cetera.
Beautiful.
I told him your numbers, and his head almost exploded because he's like, wait, what?
And I still look like shit.
No. Did you figure out how much body fat you have on you?
No, I didn't do that.
Pounds?
I didn't do that.
Goddamn, look it up.
I should. I saw Pump Daddy. What's it?
Oh, Pump to the Max.
Pump Daddy.
Pump Daddy's even better.
Yeah, that is pretty good. Pump Daddy.
Yeah, I got to check in with him.
He gave you the shout out though. I saw him and he was like, "Yo, I'm counting on you." And he's got some big ass muscles. So
What did I say to him?
Dude is really counting on you.
He's cut up too, and he was talking to my dad.
Yeah, and he's got 2 kids.
Hilarious. He was talking to my dad, and my dad's like, "What percent?" Because he's curious. He's trying to get a reference.
5%.
No. He goes, "What are you at right now?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't know. I'm probably floating around 10, 11, somewhere in there." But he's like, when I get serious and I cut down for the beach, I'll, like 6, 5. And my dad's just like,
"Oh, yeah, it's tough."
He says it casually though, but he said, which I kind of believe, and you're a testament to that. Once you get down to like a certain level, if you can maintain it for an extended period of time, that next push, you're just like resetting the bar.
Yeah, I'm just struggling. Yeah, no, I agree for sure. And I'm not a huge look. I mean, genetics play a factor in it, right? I do have a genetic meatball. That's.
See, I think I'm a genetic freak. I've never just explored.
I have a genetic meatball going on.
Is that your stomach?
It's just in my blood. Yeah, like I always have a little something to grab here.
Well, that's even what the 10% is.
Yeah, but even if I'm at 10%, that's what my wife said. So I was stripped down the other day. And giving you the visual. And she came over and she did the old school like squeezing all over, right?
It's crazy.
And she's like, this is crazy. Your 11% is just sitting right here and it's right on the gut. I'm like, thanks, babe. But it's the truth.
So my guy Paul Ravello, who I follow religiously now, in one of his episodes I watched a month ago, he talks about like you plateau as far as where the fat pulls from.
Gotcha.
And he's like from like the little, he's like, it doesn't really make a difference. And then all of a sudden, boom, it's just
It
like
goes.
everything.
Beautiful.
So I'm hoping that for you.
You had mentioned Livy before.
Yes.
The girls had a great outing, right? Pretty funny. I was working all day that
So was
day.
I, yeah.
I mean, like I didn't even really get to the messages. The one that I saw was Livy actually getting her ears pierced.
Yeah.
Beautiful. She handled it phenomenal with her partner, Callie, right by her side.
Callie was just watching.
But I heard that your daughter is just so well behaved and so mild mannered. And my daughter was in this restaurant when they were having lunch,
I heard, yeah.
having a fit. She came back from the bathroom, Karina said. Like, she went in this little, like, closet of a bathroom, wherever they were, to change her, and it was dark. She said when she came back, like, one, she had throw up, and she had peed, and she went all crazy. She came back and stuck both of her legs in the same leg hole.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Livy's just kind of, like, chilling there, and my daughter's running amok. Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, parenting, it's not easy.
We see who's doing a better
No, but
job
that was
here.
a great. I was also working, and I kept seeing the videos. Come
Yes,
in.
yeah.
So those are very fun now, having something to not look forward to, but something to break up the day where you
Yep.
like sit down, and you're like, oh, this is amazing.
I'm looking forward to their first birthday because hopefully we'll do something
It's around the corner.
combined outside
Yeah.
for the friends and get their friends together, their
That's around the
1-year-old friends.
Depending on what happens with the pandemic.
Yes.
Obviously it's going to be limited.
Yep.
But
Absolutely. Fun times though. I mean, Callie she's giving high five. She's doing bye-bye.
Yes.
She-
I'm trying to get the daddy.
The-
I saw the daddy this morning.
The dada is
Yeah.
that she kind of goes yeah, but then she'll slip a dada.
See,
So,
when
it's okay.
when Livy says dada, I want no question that she said that. Right now, it's questionable.
I got
Like
you.
she'll be like, yeah. I'm like,
You're
is
like,
that it?
Is that it? Is that it?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Work-wise, right? We had spoke about Black History Month. You gave me great advice.
How'd it go?
Right, it was good, but I took one. I did take the question piece into account and kind of ended with that.
How'd it
But
go?
It was great. It was really good. I still haven't seen the footage back. Kind of waiting for it to circulate a little bit. So I don't know. I
Are you
think
worried to watch it?
this is I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
But new little segment here. Anytime I have like a little public speaking engagement, I'll come to you.
We'll prep.
and ask you. So this is now getting very serious. March 12th, will be pretty much 1 year from when our facility in our town really shut down because of COVID to the public.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I just want to mention some of the really good work that was done on behalf of the team.
Love it.
So we're putting together a 1 year of remembrance kind of event, right? So I'm going to be opening that up verbally, right? So any pointers for that before I get to the good work that was done over the past year?
What's the game plan?
So it's a year of remembrance,
Yeah.
right? So it's going to be basically like a candlelit ceremony.
And you're talking during
I'm
it?
talking. I'm introducing the event.
Okay.
So obviously one is a recap of kind of what was done for the community, but I also don't want this to be something that is just remembrance of those that we lost. I do want to end with something positive to move forward.
This is how I would do it. Like a hype video for a UFC fight. They start with ripping the Band-Aid off. They start with, maybe you list out the events. Pandemic, this shuts down,
Yep.
this shuts down, this shuts down. This many lives lost. Maybe you
And we still
do
came
a
out on
moment of
top.
silence. Then once the moment of silence over, then
Yep.
you build it back up and say, despite the adversity, we did this. This person did
Adversity?
This person,
Bring it.
This person did this. This
The
person did that.
pandemic?
And
We
then when
welcome it.
you're ending it on a big send off,
Yep.
and then maybe there's something that wraps it all up that you said in the beginning that you repeat at the end. Pandemic not over, but something that gets everyone fired up. You end on a high note.
Yeah.
That's how I build it up.
Beautiful. This is great. But
Any hype
speaking
video
of,
I like.
so as I was now preparing for this one, I looked back over 5,000 meals distributed to our community.
That's
members,
wild.
right? It really is. We created new partnerships with Trader Joe's, ShopRite, Acme.
Dude, Trader Joe's is a great. Can't
Oh,
even
yeah.
afford Trader
But,
Joe's.
yeah, see,
and you're
I-
giving meals away.
I have all these
Contact.
community partnerships, but none of them want to jump
I was
on.
gonna say,
no one of
Trader
them.
Joe's,
They don't
yeah.
want to jump on No
I'm still going to
Snooze.
Stop and Shop.
But serious thank you to everybody that has contributed, whether you delivered one meal or you've been working with us the entire time on behalf of the entire team. Just want to acknowledge the good work and say thank you.
Love that. And if I can throw in a couple plugs for the real estate stuff, new listing at 325 King Street, 3B. Walking distance to the train.
Wow.
Downtown Portchester, vibrant, right and you're outside your door.
Beautiful.
125. It's a co-op, so the
Okay.
heat, hot water is included
Okay.
in the monthlies. in-ground pool.
1 bedroom or 2 bedroom?
1 bedroom, 1 bath.
See, I struggle personally with 1 bedrooms just because.
Yes, so this is a profile for like young professional.
It's very limited.
Family without a kid or family with one. So
Yes.
it's in the beginning.
Yeah.
So.
But just for me personally, as an investor,
Oh,
right?
investor.
Like,
Yeah, this could be an investor with co-ops. Typically, it's not because they
Yep.
have a lot of rules. More of a jumping off point.
and just so you know, obviously my mom still lives in Greenwich,
Yep.
but my sister, she moved to Stanford now, but she's
Beautiful.
looking to purchase her first place.
I like how you're doing
So
this.
yeah. So we're talking about some opportunities for her, whether it's a condo, small house, or something like that. She's been able to save some money, and she's on her own now. So I'm advising her again.
Yeah,
great-
what'd you tell her?
No,
Curious.
just to make sure that she buys something that is at least 2 bedrooms.
Yeah, you can rent out in the future.
Yeah, but for your case with that 1 bedroom, I mean, it'd be perfect for like my grandmother. It'd be perfect for
Yes.
a young individual that's on their own that is looking for something, I guess, quick.
Yep.
Quick to get into. Price point is phenomenal. on
Price
those.
point you can't beat.
You can't
I mean,
beat that.
to get something, you could throw a stone and hit the train.
Yes.
Bar Taco, all of your
Yep.
favorite restaurants.
Oh, Bar
Sam's.
Taco.
Yeah,
Bar Taco.
Listen, you might get it.
I might.
Just to
Can we
crash
buy it
there
as
after Bar Taco? But that one's out. A couple good closings. A hilarious story with a Tesla. Like my client has a Tesla, but there's no outlet. They told us, that there was gonna be an outlet. Didn't end up being an outlet there, so we have to run an extension cord like through the garage, through the ceiling and stuff.
Yep.
So I might be up in the ceiling later in the week helping my buddy.
Nice.
do
So are you going
that.
to sell real estate on the podcast now?
Well, I'm going to mention what's going on.
Okay.
Open houses, all that stuff.
Okay.
If it's okay with you,
I listen.
because I think naturally it's going to progress into you're going to have. You already have investments. I'll have some. If we're being transparent about everything going on,
Yep.
it'll be all encompassing. Other thing, I just want to shout out Coach Tarantino.
Coach T.
Reconnected with him, and he listened to the podcast last week.
Beautiful.
And he started sending me articles about bodybuilders and like the diet.
Yep.
And then he ripped me on my workout strategy. He's like, "What are you doing triceps for?" He's like, "Triceps? You're in a suit all day." He like was mad. He's like, "Just compound movements." And he knows his stuff. So
Yeah.
it was fun. It's fun hearing people's philosophies on your body and working out because
Yes.
it varies so much.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely. Coach T, that brings back some high school days, right?
Back in the day.
That is awesome. We need to move forward on. So I had other current events. One on a serious note. You saw what's going on in Texas. This will be real quick.
Roughly.
So long story short, I mean, I have family over there. That's why I just want to acknowledge him. And
Jake? Is Jake there?
Jake is here, but he's Jake's family.
See, I
is
remember Jake. That's my guy.
from Texas. He's gonna love that one.
That's my guy.
But yes, my family and friends over in Texas, our hearts are with you. So really, what they experienced was a energy crisis in Texas due to a winter storm that really corrupted the entire system.
Wild.
So basically the temperatures dropped to where it was freezing. I mean, people were putting on their sinks and water was freezing in the sinks. People were dying. There was an extreme amount of snow. So what happened is everybody cranked their heat up in Texas, which they're not used to doing.
And everything
And
exploded.
it overflowed the energy systems in the state, and they still haven't really recovered. Over in New York, obviously, we don't really deal with that because in the winter we crank heat as much as we want.
Yeah, we're
but for the
used to it.
majority of the year in Texas, you don't really even use heat like that.
Yeah.
So hearts are with you guys, and stay strong. Texas strong, right? Like this, is that right?
That's Longhorn. So I don't. I mean,
Yeah, that's right. That's
But there's
that's Jake,
there's a couple
UT.
teams in Texas.
That's true. Man,
So you gotta be careful.
UT.
Yeah.
Other quick current event is a Kardashian, right?
Last season, I hear.
That is true. Yeah. Wait, is that true?
Yeah, it's the
Yes.
last season. They're going out with a bang.
But
That's the
Courtney,
commercial.
one of my favorite Kardashians.
Courtney is the middle sister or the oldest?
She's the oldest.
I like Khloe. She had
I think
the biggest
she is
glow up.
the biggest glow up. Courtney, I think she's had some plastic surgery, but not nearly as much as the other Kardashians. But she's dating Travis B.
Travis B. Who's that?
Travis Barker.
Oh, the drummer.
Right. So Scott
But
Disick
isn't
was
one
her.
dating with Travis Scott?
Travis Scott was Kylie, I think.
And then you have Scott. So they have a, a type.
yeah.
Travis
but
or Scott.
Travis Barker. So I had to Google him the other day because I'm like, how old is this dude?
Blink-182.
Because all the small things, right? Like that was literally the jam.
You
and
look like you could be a drummer.
I had to Google the year that it was, and that came out in the year 2000, Michael. We are getting old. So the current event is just us being extremely old now.
I don't know about you. I feel like I'm getting younger.
I feel like I'm thriving. I feel like 35 is going to be my peak. like of all time, right? That's
35?
like 35. So
what are you, 32?
I'm 31.
31?
So
You got 4 years to thrive.
So I got 4 years to get there. Hopefully that's my climax of life.
Don't fail at that.
I know. But it's an exciting time in your 30s. You know?
I heard a stat that kids that are born like around now, I think they think they're going to live to like 200.
Wow. So our daughters,
I don't know how serious.
Our daughters are
Can
on
you
track.
imagine?
That'd be beautiful.
That'd be
That would be.
So if say we live to 120 each, I know we're speculating.
Coach Pete,
we're really.
I told you I'm going at 108.
Yeah.
Right?
So we're really only like
not
20,
quarter way through.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're young.
No snooze recommendations, QVC style.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited. So before we started recording, he jingled at me.
He looked at me. He said, "What's your recommendation?" I said, "Well, it's jingling in my pocket." So I have Siggy's yogurt, right? And the jingle.
I've seen that.
Yeah. So the jingle is a spoon for you.
Oh yes, are we taste testing?
We'll do a taste
I gotta make
test
sure
here.
I put this in my Fitness Pal.
Yeah. So just real quick, this is with the Crohn's disease again. I like I said, pizza is a thing for me, but I'm really lactose intolerant, so I should not be consuming milk products. So they have this coconut plant-based yogurt that I want you to try. Mixed berry, mango, and the raspberry are my favorite. I believe I brought. Hold on.
While he's getting that, something that I'm trying to think about, the only food utensil that typically people don't bring with them is a spoon.
I
and
had to
I've
really think
asked
this
people
one out.
before, like, do you have a spoon?
Yeah, I had to really think this one out.
Imagine pulling that out.
So before we try it, this is the mixed berry, but it's got 10 grams of protein.
Yeah,
right?
how are the
So
macros? Talk
so
to
it's
me.
not an extreme protein level, but for yogurts, it's a quick snack. Sometimes they can be extremely high in sugar. So this only has 8 grams of sugar.
Are there any calories?
So there are calories.
Oh, okay.
There are.
You're going to hit the zero.
No, there are 180 calories per serving,
Okay.
but it's a non-dairy product, which is huge. Great name,
Big
Siggy. I Googled him. He's great. Got a nice flow.
Nice guy.
So definitely support them. Now, on top of this, they also have a low-fat yogurt. They have a non-fat yogurt.
Ooh,
right?
that's what I would jump for.
Exactly.
The non-fat.
And they can be found at Siggy's Dairy, SIGGISDAIRY on Instagram,
Yep.
or www.siggys.com to check out a store locator. But there's more.
No, there's not.
There's more. They were generous enough, yes, look at the face,
No.
to provide a coupon for the listeners. Wow. So just click on the coupon tab on the website. You save $1 on any 2 Siggy products.
How the hell do you know Siggy?
I don't know Siggy.
Oh, all right. But who knows him? That he's giving us discounts.
So I'm not gonna lie.
If you pay
It's-
full price for your yogurt, you're a sucker.
right, I'm not gonna lie. It's not a. Here's the kicker. It's not only a no snooze thing, but I figured it sounded really
No
good.
one knows.
You know what I mean? So you click that coupon tab right on the website, and they give you $1 off 2 products.
I love it.
Let's try it.
All right. Are you trying? First off, are you trying to sabotage my diet? Is this
No.
gonna be like tons of carbs and stuff in it?
Oh no. Oh, so the
what are
carb.
the sugars? Talk to me about sugars.
You know where this is from? What is it based on?
It was a New York piece. York County or no, not York
Yorktown?
County.
I know that.
One county in New York, but it's also based off of an Iceland product. Yeah, see, I'm knowledgeable on my stuff.
I like it.
So I'm gonna give Michael a taste here. Michael asked about the macros. So you got 180 calories per serving, which is 1 container here. Total fat is 10 grams. Total carbs only 12 grams.
Okay.
Right,
Not
so
bad.
it's nice and low there. 8 grams of sugar and 10 grams. Yeah.
Added or just natural?
Total sugar. Yeah, I mean there's a little added sugar in there, but 10 grams of protein.
I'm trying to sabotage.
So it's
me.
no. This is. It's,
Let me get a dip.
It's plant based.
I don't think I've ever
So-
shared a yogurt with another man.
Go ahead. Mixed berries.
It has nice consistency, good viscosity.
There you go. And again,
voluminous.
it's not as sweet as a regular milk based yogurt, right? Because it's
very good.
plant based.
It tastes like it's
Right.
yeah. It doesn't taste like Greek yogurt's very strong.
Yes, and it's got much more flavor than
Kinda
Greek
tastes like
yogurt.
oatmeal.
And what I do at night, I kind of mix in some fresh strawberries, drizzle a little peanut butter on top. It's a nice little snack. Again, this is not going to get you to your dietary needs for the day, but
Just one of them.
But a nice little snack option that's something healthy. So you got Siggy's plant-based coconut blend yogurt.
Listen, I Siggy's all day. That was delicious. I'm on a very strict diet. I'm trying to get to 10%. Thank you.
As you talk, I'm going to crush this yogurt.
What do you want me to do with the spoon?
I'll take it back.
Okay, here. That was mine.
CV, you got I just got yogurt on the mic. You got a spoon, CV, or No? All right,
So
you'll
I
try
didn't
later.
think mine through well. So
Okay.
I'm going to just try it and see what we got here. I have a surprise for the folks.
Uh-oh. So I'm eating my my yogurt. Oh, wow. Mike is taking his pants off, I guess. He's taking his pants. Oh, wow.
Bike pants padded in the back.
Wow. So he brought the bike pants with him.
I wore it under my suit.
This is-
I did not forget.
This is
I will be
hilarious.
removing this for the showings. Hold on.
This is hilarious.
So these are bay leaf.
So Mike is roaming around the room in his padded bike pants with a suit top on.
I've never sat more comfortably in my life. Repeat that to the folks.
So he just said that he's never sat more comfortably in his life. This is some outfit here.
So the bike pants, they're not too flattering.
Wow.
But they have, this is a big.
We can't hear you.
This is
Yeah, talking to the...
These are the bay leaf bike pants. The padding is phenomenal. It goes basically from the mid rumpus to the front rumpus area, and it's one of the most comfortable. It allows me to do the Peloton for low intensity, steady state cardio for upwards of an hour. But I have to admit something.
What?
My nether regions went numb. I was
What?
on the bike so long.
In what regions?
My nether
Your
regions.
nether regions.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that.
Fill it in. Nether regions.
Nether.
They went numb. I think I broke the microphone. They went numb because I was on the bike so long. So basically, bay leaf or BALEAF bike pants. Your equipment will fail before
Literally,
they do.
Equipment.
That's
a
their
good
slogan.
How much do those bad boys run? Because
These were, I think, 35, 40.
Now
Steel.
the stock went up, Michael.
Listen, forget Bitcoin, bay leaf bike pants, padded bike pants.
That's right. Is
But-
there coupon code yet for No Snooze, or we're working on
no
that?
coupon code. I
All
don't
right.
know if I'm a positive that I jumped on their bandwagon. I might tank the stock, but it gives us an opportunity to short sell.
Still crushing this yogurt. Just
Yeah.
finished in time. That was literally the product of the year.
I don't know. Can you see my lower half for the podcast?
Can you? Yes.
Okay, I guess I'll just rock with this till the end.
Oh my God, this is turning into something ridiculous. That's at No Snooze. This is what we do.
This
We
is what
document the
happens.
journey of our ridiculousness. So hopefully you enjoy it.
I think this isn't a bad look. If this
No,
became
it's
like
solid.
the standard,
Yep. So after 40 minutes of ramble,
well, I got stuff on.
we will do a. Hold on, let me just put this yogurt down. Talk to the people.
We wanted to take a quick second to let you guys know that we partnered with our good friends over at Orgain.com. We're happy to offer our listeners 30% off by entering the code NOSNOOZE30. Again, that's NOSNOOZE30 for 30% off your first order. If you're on the market for a new protein powder, nutritional shake, protein bar, or Mike's favorite, collagen peptides, Orgain is your one-stop shop. As all of you know, my Crohn's disease is currently in remission, and the only protein I use is from Orgain. My personal favorites are the chocolate peanut butter and the vanilla bean. With the code, you can try a 2-pound tub for under $20. Talk about not snoozing. Go get yours today. Now, back to the epi.
So we are going to end it with
Decision making.
Decision making, as in this was a difficult decision to make to pull this off. today.
Yes. Very nice with the shoes now.
I got
So
a little schmutz on this one.
decision making. Being a decisive person in life is a key leadership skill. I see it now in my industry. I know you see it in yours, especially in real estate, right? You need to learn how to become decisive. Now, things we'll talk about today are the process of decision making, kind of what we go through, but then also there's a separator now when it comes to making difficult decisions, right? It's two different things. Like I've built systems in my life, like I said before, to where 80 to 85% of the decisions, they're already made before I'm there. So what time am I going to wake up tomorrow? I already know it's 4:45. Unless something happens, with the baby and that throws me off. But for the most part, it's 4:45 wake up. What am I wearing? Whether it's my suit or my, business attire, it's already picked out. Gym bag is packed. What am I eating for lunch? My meals are already done. What am I having for dinner? I'm taking either salmon or steak out of the freezer. So I've built systems in place in my life to where I'm practicing that as a habit. So then when I do become, engulfed in difficult decision making, I've already built the confidence to where I have a system in place to do it. I do believe, I don't know if you'll agree with this, I believe the most of your decisions in life, like I'm talking about the small ones, so again, 80 to 85%, they should be made quickly, confidently, with no return. And once you make the decision, right, like where are you going to get gas? You know that you're either going to get it before you get to the place or after. That's a small decision that I'm talking about, where if we practice these little things in life, I think we're more likely to set up for success when it comes to the big, difficult decisions. You put things in place that you don't go back on. You make the decision. It could be a wrong decision sometimes, but that becomes a learning experience, and you don't make the same mistake twice.
I like it.
Right?
Do you find yourself straying from these decisions throughout the day, and is there a reason that you stray if you do?
Yes, but for the most part, again, it's the decision making comes first. I make the decision, right? Then from there, it is the certainty piece, and then I take the action. So decision, certainty, action. Now, once I make the decision, now if the certainty doesn't go there because something else throws me off, like a baby screaming at 2 o'clock in the morning that I'm up for an hour, now I have to readjust, and at that time, I make another decision.
Do you find that there is a snowball effect of bad decisions throughout the day? Not big things, but small things.
So I've learned, especially with the baby now, and by the way, I mean, this is so funny now because we're coming up on 8 months and 9 months of the babies, and we thought that was hard, like the first 8 months. Like now it's actually getting hard.
Yeah.
So I commend all the parents. But what I have learned now, just through this short experience, is that I can control the snowball effect by making the decision when the first snowball happens.
You could be the
right?
heater.
Exactly. So I don't have to, like, if I have to skip a day of working out, I don't let that affect the snowball. That's a decision that I'm making. I'm in control to say, you know what? I'm not going to work out today, and it's okay.
Well said. You know, I would let a cheat meal turn to a cheat day, which would turn to a cheat weekend.
There you go.
Which I'm not allowing now.
There you go.
Because we're getting towards that.
Yep.
It's interesting because whenever we throw out a topic, you tend to go on the very literal, shorter term ones, right? Your day-to-day decision making, where my intent was big decisions.
Yes.
Right? Which I think both are disciplines that need to be learned, but I think there's different muscles.
Well, I was going to say
right?
that's the other part. That's the other part. But I'm talking first, I believe, to get to that level of making big decisions, we have to be conscious that everything that we do, we made a decision, right?
Yeah.
Like we made a decision to record at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
That was the decision that got made. We stick to that unless something happens. We don't allow the trajectory of other things that we can't control affect us moving forward.
Yeah.
I'll speak on some habit piece, and then we'll get to the
my
piece.
My whole thing with decisions is that, like, you need to give yourself enough time to see if the decision was correct, but not being stubborn where you won't back down on a decision.
Yes.
So you can pivot.
Yes.
You know, people use the word pivot, but it basically means changing your decision.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
Pivot's like a sexy marketing word for it.
It is pretty sexy.
Yeah.
Pivot.
But there's so many things that I've realized that, like, oh, I said I wasn't going to do this. And then you're like, I probably should start eating this. Yeah, like I probably should start eating food again.
The 1,000-calorie kid.
Yeah.
That was good. Pros and cons list now. So now shifting to business, right? This is something that I do when it comes to making big decisions.
Pros and cons.
Pros and cons. It's very literal and kind of foo-foo, as some would say, but it makes sense. When you physically write down, like CV was making a big decision in his life, and I remember I told him specifically, you need to literally list out all of the pros and all of the cons, because what that does is it forces you to think everything through, right? Then I also begin to look at the regret of not making a decision and the consequences of making the wrong decision.
Or the consequences of not making a decision.
Like Bitcoin for me, right? Right now, like I would have to evaluate the regret factor of me not making a decision or the consequence of me taking $10,000 and investing it.
Yeah.
Right? So those are things when I'm making a personal big decision, a big investment in my life, whether it wasn't real estate at the time. Like when we made that jump a couple years back, you know, and I remember you were involved in it from the beginning with the investment property. Like even though it was 3.5% down, like it's a lot of money down for the first time, you know, and for a 25-year-old,
anytime it's a lot of money down.
But to make a decision like that, I literally had to talk myself through the regret of not doing this or being so young. And you know what? Yeah, I mean, what could happen with this consequence of making the wrong decision?
So it's interesting. You kind of come from it from like a worst case scenario approach, defensive, not having the regret. Where when I look at it, something like that, I'm like, what's the upside?
What's the upside? But that's the pro versus the con.
But I don't even like the cons.
You don't like the cons?
I look at the cons and I'm
Yep.
like, what's the negative? All right, well, I'm locked in this, and that. But I think I let the upside pull me through.
I could see that, and I think that's an asset of yours. But for me,
there's no right way.
No, but I also have to be logical.
No, I'm logical.
No,
but
you're.
It's
I'm talking about.
So, for example, right, with a house,
Yep.
I'm like, okay, like our house when we bought it, I'm like, all right, well, it's a lot of money. We could overextend ourselves and not be able to afford it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, worst case scenario, like you're saying, move back in with my parents, or I get an apartment we get foreclosed on. Right?
Pretty tough scenario.
Okay, but then
Pretty bad.
I end with not the end of the world.
Yep.
Right? You tried, you failed.
Yep.
Best case scenario, we get a property for a price that doesn't often come around in our town. Long term, it could be the first investment property of many.
Yep.
We could be setting ourselves up to get to the next property shortly. We move out of our apartment. We can start our family, potentially get married. So then, like, when the narrative of what we want starts to fall into place and the outlook becomes a little more clear, I'm able to make a more confident decision.
Yes.
Because I'm like, I've thought out the next 5 steps.
Mm-hmm.
And by making this one chess move,
And you
it
do
opens
that.
the whole
You
board.
do that well. What I meant for me in my life in terms of logic, the reality of our careers, or you can go sell a $10 million home tomorrow, right?
Unlikely,
or you
yes.
can no, but
Yeah.
or it's not unlikely. Or you can sell a $100,000 co-op.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas me, I have your commission base is, I mean, it's
But
you have no number.
But
right?
I challenge that because I didn't at that time didn't have much money from commission.
Yes.
So it was still a decision made with very limited income, which I think everyone can make. But if it fits into your lifestyle design,
Mm-hmm.
I think by jumping off the cliff and putting yourself in the position, you'll figure it out.
Some
and be
will.
better for it. I
Some
think
will.
most
You will.
I think most will.
Some people will.
But a lot of
flop.
people never even take that step, and I
Yes.
think that is a problem because once you're in it and you're forced to learn on how to make it work, you figure it out.
Right.
But I think a lot of people don't even take the first step.
I agree with you, but at the same time, I will say for my career, right? Like I have a fixed salary. My wife has a fixed salary. Whereas you will be more motivated if you dive into something large like that. You'll be more motivated to go sell that $10 million home. Whereas I may not be able to do that as quickly.
But I'll challenge you on that. There is unlimited ways to make money now.
Of course.
If worst case scenario, you don't tell me you'd start like driving for Uber if you needed to.
No, I'd probably caddy before I did that.
Exactly. So
But,
you
know what I
example,
mean?
right?
Because that was quick money always.
But
in the
that's what I'm
back.
saying. Like
Yeah.
even anyone,
Yeah.
when you're put in the position, it forces you.
And honestly, if I was in a bind, I mean, I'd really, borrow against my retirement or
Yeah, there's ways.
pull-
There's solutions.
yeah, of course,
So
of course.
my whole thing is like I want to put myself in some type of financial stress, not overextend where I like can't function, but enough where I have to be forced to recalibrate and figure out another revenue source. I just like to be. I don't like being too comfortable
Yep. No, understood.
with decisions.
Yes, and to that piece, I will say the timeline, the T that we spoke about.
The T,
right?
the most
so I
important
think,
T.
I think the timeline is important when you are faced with a tough decision, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in your business, your fitness, whatever it is.
Bike pants.
You have to set a timeline because what the timeline will allow you to like break things down and understand, the reality, the pros, the cons, the consequences, the regret.
Do you practice giving yourself self-imposed timelines?
Yeah, I put timelines on myself
All the time, right?
Absolutely.
I think that's important.
100%.
I think a lot of people don't do that.
100%.
I don't know what the Pareto is. Basically, is it Pareto? It's like your task will expand to the amount of time you give it. No, that's the 80-20.
I don't know.
Whoever, we'll figure it out. But
Yeah.
basically, the proverb is like whatever you give yourself, that's what you'll expand your work to.
Here's another thing that I do, and it's basically looking at if you have a decision, it's either one thing or the other. I look at the other thing, which would be the third option. Look at the third option because, like, even with Bitcoin right now, right? Like, what I'm going to do right now, even if I'm not going to,
Dude, if you don't
What?
invest, and then Karina, I'm going to get a call from Karina.
No.
Everyone's
But so
pissed at
the
me.
decision is to invest in Bitcoin or not, right? But for the time being, what I'm going to do is take an extra 3% and go put it towards my current investments.
Yeah.
So at least while I'm now trying to decide on the Bitcoin or something,
You're
I just
staying
looked
active.
at a third option, right? Like the way that my investments are set up.
I like
is
that. Get
it's,
creative.
It's bi-weekly investments, right? So I take a number bi-weekly and I put it there. So for the time that I'm deciding, right? I'm looking at the third option, and I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to up my deferred comp 3%.
Because you're so disciplined, I think you're going to do very well long term in the market, because that is the hardest thing, is for people to do that. And that's like the one thing that people can't do. Yep. I struggle with that.
No,
it's just doing the same amount, because I get either overly enthused,
yep,
or I like hold off for a little bit,
yep,
versus just doing the dollar cost averaging.
A personal belief of mine is I think everybody should always invest at least 10% of their income on things that they want to invest in, right? On potential to make money, whether it could be Bitcoin, it could be your Peloton stock, it could be your portfolio, it could be your real estate, or it could just be putting something aside.
Well, I think there's different phases, right? I think there's like the figuring it out phase, try to create some income sources phase, whatever that is. Then I think there's like, I have some cash, what do I do with it phase? And then there's like the protection of your wealth phase. Mm-hmm. So I think we're both like, we have a little bit of cash, what do we do with it phase?
Yeah,
but it takes a little while, I think, to get there, because to make, like, if you put $1,000 in the market, you're not going to make generational wealth with $1,000.
Of course.
I mean, typically. So, but you can take $1,000 and put it back into your business or whatever you're doing, and that could be a big.
But say your paycheck was $2,500 or $1,000 for whatever the paycheck would be. But if you did 10% of that every single
too slow.
No, of every single week, and you were investing in something while you wanted to figure out what it is that you want to invest in for the big play, whether it's just, this could be a savings account. You know what I noticed?
Oh, savings account.
A lot of people don't even save their money. They don't save money. They put things into investments too quickly without proper knowledge. That's something that I'll never do.
See, I think saving money's fine. I just think
you make no money on saving money. Honest, I mean, realistically,
saving money and losing a little bit with inflation or whatever is better than losing all of it.
Yes.
So there's like, to some extent, it's important. I don't know. I think people need to figure out their own stuff. But if I could go back, I would learn way more about. I mean, my major was finance in college, but way before then, I would have learned more about personal finance.
Yes, agreed.
Because that's everything.
100%. Even life insurance. Like, we just took out a.
Yeah.
I mean, this is something that, and I know Matt is involved in that. Matt Piro, my dad, is involved in life insurance. That was something I had to become so well immersed in my head before I took out a large policy of not only term but whole life.
See, what I do is I understand it to an extent, and then I try to trust who I'm working with to be the expert, which you're going to get burned at some point. But if my thought is, like, if I can keep the people that I trust around me to be confidants in that stuff, I'm going to learn just enough and then defer to some expertise if needed.
Yep.
So, but I agree with
this.
You.
And this is not a
but that's an asset, right? Because
absolutely.
You can borrow against
you borrow against that against your whole life.
Yeah. That's
you know. Yes. Your term, which is one. Again,
but you need to
we're talking more finance stuff. But this is stuff that Mike and I are both invested in and involved in. But it's true. Every single one of us that are in our, whether you're 22 years old or you're 32 years old or 42 or even 52 now, you need to get yourself some life insurance. Whether it's term, that should be automatic. Yeah. Term is something that is, you invest in it over the course of 20 years, and then after 20 years, it goes away. But at least in an emergency situation, if you have that life insurance, whoever your heirs are could at least reap some benefits to that. Yeah. Something that, I wish I got involved pretty early, but something that I'm telling my brother and my dad's telling my brother right now, my sister, no, they're getting involved now.
Yeah.
It's just an opportunity to set yourselves up and your families up for something.
So what I think you're doing, and I'm sure it's probably a part of your thought, is like, it's a long-term, like everything you're doing is long-term.
Correct.
And you're assuming that you never have to sell any of this stuff, right? You're just using it as assets.
Yeah, and I could sell if I want to sell, but like my investment property, right? I don't really make $1 on it for now, but everything is principal. So I pay it off quicker, and then I sit back and
there's another phase, and I got to get you this book, where there's another phase where we're going to be good at moving debt around.
Yep.
Because once you have these assets, you have basically these like little savings accounts.
Yes.
And little trees that you can trim and pull some flowers out of.
Okay.
And then replant in other areas.
I love that.
And that's how, like, the really wealthy, like when they have a commercial property, for example, and they they get the tenant base out, they input new tenants, and the value of that property, because the income goes up, the value of the property goes up, and you're generating income quickly, and then you're able to take out that net difference that you just made out of thin air because you replaced the tenants.
Beautiful.
You take that income and you take that and you bring that into another property or something like that. You're basically creating, to make $300,000 in the stock market is difficult in anything. But to make it in real estate, if you have the right, knowledge and ability, that's very replicatable.
Absolutely.
Right? And then it becomes bigger and bigger thing. So I'm excited for the chess when you're in. It's going to be stressful because then it's like, how do we not lose this?
Yeah.
But when you have more pieces on the chessboard, you have a lot more games you can play, right? So we're trying to get our chessboard set.
Mm-hmm.
So then when we get to a level, we can be all right. Without much risk, we can do these moves, right? Right now we're like
it's a little
half
risky,
risky, right? Because we have a young family.
Yep.
We have a lot going on. Right now we're like it's harder, but I think once you get it past a certain point, it gets even easier because it's percentage-wise, it's like nothing.
I'm excited for the first big No Snooze investment.
Well, big No Snooze investment, yeah. CV bought this house.
Some rules for the decisions,
Yes.
right? And these are things that I jotted down, but it's something that, now I constantly think of, especially whether it's a financial decision, something at work, something with the family. Never make the final decision under stress. Ever. A flaw of mine for a long time was making quick decisions, like taking the habit piece that I was talking about on small decisions and applying it to big decisions and just automatically just kind of regurgitating and say yes or no.
Yeah.
One thing that I always do now is not focusing on the pressure of the decision, right? And never making the decision without consulting with, my wife if it is something that's for an investment property. A problem of mine too, I was investing in things and I wasn't telling her. She came to me very quickly, like, this is not just your
transparency,
your money. You need to be conscious of letting me know. So it's a great out for anybody who's married.
Yep.
If there's a tough decision that's placed in front of you, I have to discuss it with my wife, my family, and we'll get back to you on something.
Yep. And I think Dana and I have done pretty well with that prior to me buying our house before we were engaged. But that was before we were engaged.
Yep. There you go.
But yeah, that's a good point too.
This is something that I do, and I actually create a different type of space for myself physically, right? At work, I actually walk outside if it's something that I need to really deliberate, and I have to eliminate distractions. And it's an extreme focus on just the scenarios that are in front of me.
I like it.
Again, I didn't do this for a long time, but now I'm at the point in my career to where decisions are coming to me left and right.
Yeah.
And I never want to make a decision that I'm not fully focused and engaged in that moment. So I have to physically change my space and walk around, walk outside, get some, the birds in the air, and then just focus.
When the body moves, the mind grooves.
Ooh.
Have you heard that one?
Is
Jim
that
Quick.
your mantra?
No.
Jimmy Quickie.
Jim Quick.
Quick brain.
So
right?
something that I used to do that I fell out of, but I had another angle. I used to think in the shower would be like my
beautiful.
angle. But then I realized my best decisions, business, life-wise, happen in the gym. But I haven't been in the gym for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm back, sometimes before I start listening to music or podcasts, I'll be sitting there starting to lift and not listen to anything yet. And then or even if I'm listening to things and music, my best ideas come when I'm working out.
Beautiful. No,
and it could be the pre-workout.
Well, that's something I had always.
Caffeine.
I was always a big proponent of that. Is you're so creative because something happens in the brain when you're physically moving. Yeah. So great point there. One thing I know you do for sure, I do it as well. It's the vision, right? Like clear vision of what it is that you want, whether it's business or anything. What in a perfect world, what is the decision that you would want? Like, what is the outcome? What is the outcome, right? The full-blown vision. Now, you dissect the vision, and you say, well, if I make this, how close am I to the outcome that I want? Yeah. If I make this decision, how close am I to the outcome that I want? Always ask yourself, what vision do I have for this decision?
Yeah,
right. Like before you make the decision, you need that needs to be a process. You have to, and you have to really, like you do, like you have painted the picture of your vision so clearly on even the podcast, right? Like that ultimate goal of the kids playing around and the, whether it's the bakery, the deli, the property owning, like you now know that vision is what you want. So the decisions that you make in business ultimately come down to that play.
Yeah. Either you're moving towards them
or you're not, right? Like, and I think it's okay to have, multiple visions per se, right? The vision is different than the why, but the vision itself is so important. And I think it's so underlooked. And it needs to be overlooked.
Yeah. Well, it's either people are pitching you on their vision or you're getting pitched on people's vision.
Correct.
Right? So it's
Correct.
like, and you can mold visions together. Like when people come together like a team, I think that's important where you're figuring out, because you can make a scenario that achieves for everyone what they want, you know?
Yep.
Something that you were talking about that I was thinking about is that the speed of decision has been what has been holding me back so far. And just in this past month, the pace of the market has sped up again. So I've been really working on getting quick decisions and not worrying, like, you know, in the past I would labor over a number for a listing, where now I'm like, all right, I know it's in this ballpark. I tell my client, listen, I think I'm pretty confident in this number. If we don't get the feedback we want in 2 weeks, we'll discuss and revisit. But I think it's important we hit the market and see and get feedback, because as much as we can pontificate on what it's going to be worth, it's what the market says. Right. And then once you make that decision, putting your head down, and no matter what that number is, you're doing the same things, and, you know, pushing it as if you are 1,000,000% confident that is the number that's going to get it done.
Correct.
So it's like the mindset shift to being like hesitant. Now, when you build a certain amount of confidence in your ability, personal, professional, whatever it is, you're able to just kind of say, listen, this is what my gut's telling me and my research. I'm not going to keep going over it. I know what I did, and I know I'm confident enough to make the decision. Let's run with it.
Beautiful.
Where in the past I would be like,
No, well said. And to that piece of, you know, the gut. One, I think the gut does play a big role in it. You know, that feeling that you physically get. Like for me, I don't know. It's definitely an instinct thing, but I know, like, not all the time. But for the majority of times, I get this feeling. Even when I'm making the wrong decision, I feel it. Like, no, this is actually the wrong decision that I'm making. But then I'm too stubborn, and I'll still make the wrong decision until I end up, you know, proving myself wrong or whatever. But I'm also guided, and this is a little personal, but I'm guided by faith nowadays. Whereas I lean on, you know, just knowing that even if I do make a bad decision, the question becomes, what can I learn from this process? And it only becomes a problem if I make the same mistake again, right? So I've come to the conclusion that I can make a bad decision, you know, and I can make a mistake. But what am I learning from that process? And ultimately, I believe that it's a learning lesson from my higher power, right? Again, a little spiritual there, but it's the truth. You know, I've had certain things in my life that have happened to me that have proven to me that there is somebody much higher than me that is guiding my life. So I just have to play into that a little bit more. And it's tough because I'm so damn stubborn.
Yeah. But
You know?
I feel like at some level you have to be stubborn to like push through decisions. You have to be at some level.
I agree.
Something that I've cooled off on, but I still do, is I do it with the right lens, is that I have conversations with people, and depending on who they are is how much I take it into account. And if they bring up a valid point, I'll really think about the point.
Yes.
But if they say, oh, don't do that, like it's stupid, but no reasoning, I just kind of dismiss it, because I look back at a lot of conversations I've had, and if I listen to everyone what they thought, no one's going to have the expectations you have of yourself, so they're going to look at you in a different frame.
Correct.
And consult you and advise you differently than what you would do for yourself. So I think ultimately your decisions are up to you and your closest inner circle, but even then, when it's so crystal clear, you have to see it through if you've really thought about it and you're ready to go. And don't let someone saying, I don't think that's a good move, because everyone else has motives, and they factor in their motives into their advice. So I've almost been caught a couple times when I've consulted people about big life decisions, and they're like, it doesn't make sense. Would you do this? Why would you do that? But everything I've decided, I'm so happy I did. And it's not that you prove them wrong, but they just didn't have all of the tools to make a good advisory decision.
Beautiful. And that's into my last piece of resources.
I've been reading your thing.
No, it's spot on though, because you have to be in control of making that decision, but at the same time, you do need to rely on the resources that are out there.
Yeah.
So if you are in a business with people, right, we need to rely on one another as we do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we have to be knowledgeable that other people don't have the same vision as us.
Yes.
You know, we have to rely on our experiences. That goes to resources. You have to rely on some of the experts, right? And that it's hard for me because I believe that I'm like the expert of my life. Right? That's
Which
what
you are. I mean,
I
don't
am,
think
but
anyone knows your life better than you.
I am, but at the same time, if I'm going to invest in real estate, like I should probably go talk to you and get your opinion on it.
You can have advisory boards.
Correct.
bounce
And that's
stuff
part of
off
the resources, and now, YouTube
But
as
if
well.
I tell you, listen, I don't think that's like the right move,
Mm-hmm.
but you're like, well, in my head, this is the only move I can do because I need to do this to get to here,
Yep.
then you still need to make the decision, but you can take everyone's advice into account
Yes.
with weight.
Yep.
Because sometimes when people just listen to people, they don't get anything done.
100%. And also learning from other people's experiences. Like if you listen closely to your friends group, like somebody has probably been through what you're going through.
Mm-hmm.
And not that you could take it with a grain of salt, but it's just good to hear, what has gone on for other people. But again, at the same time, there are a lot of people that, they're comfortable in their own lives, and people always want to see others doing good, but never better than them, right? It's a competitive
to
thing,
an
like
extent, though.
to an extent. But like, I know people who have made it big. Happy for them, but I mean, I'd be lying if I said, you know what, I'm not a little jelly.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that-
But not in a bad way. Like I'll use it as motivation and be like,
Yeah.
damn, if they could do it, I could do it. So I try to use it as a friendly competition, where some people, though, they cripple themselves.
Well, something that I think about a lot lately is that feeling of like the jealousy thing. It's fine because everyone has it just naturally,
Yep.
but you have to like if you start basing your decisions
Oh,
on
no, that's
that,
terrible.
it's a problem.
That's ridiculous.
Because then you adjust your game plan.
Yep.
Whereas like in this current snapshot, yes, perception is they are farther along the process. But let's see 20 years down the road, right?
Exactly. What are you doing
Wealth,
now that
health,
could be
all that. Like, it's not to say that you want their life to crumble, but everyone's got their own race they're running, and they have different advantages, disadvantages. So you can't really measure yourself up to anyone else.
Yes.
Unless, like, you're both literally living the exact same life. Like, if you have a twin, it's got to be.
It's kind of like me and you, right?
Well, yeah. I mean,
but that's what I love about you and I is that we live completely like opposite lives with a lot of the same shared values, a lot of the same core beliefs, a lot of the same visions per se, but our day-to-days are just so different because of our industries, our families are different, but it's a great dynamic to have somebody else, and CV has his process, but you can feed off of each other, whereas a lot of times I see even in internal organizations that just people aren't on the same page.
You know how I think of it too? I'm like, well, Gary Vee says all the time. He's like, build the biggest building by just building a building. Don't try to tear other people's buildings down to get
Correct.
the biggest. But the other thing is like, I ask people this all the time. If you were super rich and you were super successful, great family, this and that, but none of your friends were, what fun is it?
Yeah.
Right? Do you want to be the one paying for everything? I fucking don't.
Yeah.
So
I
it
mean, it depends how much
incentivizes
money
you
I
to be
have.
like, help everyone, because in a perfect world, you're all at the dinner table,
Yep.
right? And you're fighting over the bill, hopefully.
Yes.
You're not just the person paying the bill.
Whereas now I'm just
Which
like,
is fine.
here you go, Mike.
Yeah, no. I pass it. I'm like, all right, let's Stein and ditch. Can we use the tell Mike sent you leverage? But it's some interest because people don't think that way. They're like, because they're so like short-sighted. But at the end of the day, if you do very well, but no one else can take off from work and go travel to Italy with you or wherever, what fun is it going to be?
Correct.
It's going to be boring.
Correct.
Right? What you can do? Make new friends? No one wants that.
No
Especially
new friends.
once you're like, you're doing well. Then you're like, all right, I'm guessing I'm going to be
You know
friends.
what sucks about the no new friends technique, and then we'll move to my favorite
You can
section.
get new friends.
You can get new friends. No, it's a term that's
But
taken
isn't
out
it
of
more
context.
fun when your friends that you grew up with are there with you?
Yeah, correct.
Because a
but
lot
I was
of people say ditch like who you're with because they have different values. I don't believe that.
correct. But where I was going, we see it all the time. You have people who are so close to you that will be there when you are extremely successful, and they deserve to be there because they've been there the entire time. But sometimes those are the ones that are laughing at you.
Well, those
and
weren't
it's
the
okay.
real ones anyway. I mean, sometimes they're the real ones. They just don't understand it, which is fine.
You know what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah,
You know,
it happens.
It definitely happens.
I also think like who cares? Like at the end of the day, if I'm getting to where I'm going and people just like laugh, whatever. Like
yeah, you've always been good at
they're
that.
gonna be, but like I have this vision of being like.
I'm sensitive Sally
I'm gonna
over
be
here.
hanging at my house, be like very happy and fulfilled doing my thing.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be talking shit somewhere else.
Exactly.
Miserable.
Yeah.
So I'm like, who cares?
But
If anything,
honestly,
that should make you smile thinking about that.
correct. But you've always been solid with that. And honestly, I've gotten to a point that I genuinely want to see everybody. Not only on
I don't
my,
want to see everybody. 'cause
No,
there's some people
I was just gonna say
There's
not
some
only
people I dislike.
not only on my team, but those who are working hard
Yeah.
in their lives.
Yeah.
And hard is an extremely
the right way
tough
though. There's
tough
some
term.
scumbags.
I was gonna say
there's some scumbags.
hard, and the way that still challenges them. The people who are vulnerable to get to where they're going. I want all of those people to win. Everyone else kick rocks.
Yeah, I honestly don't care if anyone else does. I hope they do, but you just got to be like tunnel
Yep.
vision.
This was
obviously your team, but
this was good.
this was a fun one.
Just being conscious of time, and very selfishly, as always, this will bring us to my favorite section, Dave's Dime of the Week.
dimes.
In any moment of decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing. The next best thing is the wrong thing. And the worst thing you can do is nothing. Uncle Teddy, Theodore Roosevelt.
Uncle Teddy. You just said his name twice.
No, but just so people know who Uncle Teddy is.
We
know what I
never
mean?
know who Uncle Teddy is.
Oh, okay, all right.
Come on, let's not.
You know.
So I forgot to write down who the person is who said this, and I want to give them their day.
It was an odd name, no?
It was a very odd name.
I
I
did-
don't
I
think I pick.
I didn't know.
who says it.
By the
It's
way,
just-
can you wait? Go back. Can you just look at how big my triceps were? In that,
dude?
just look how big. Hold on.
Is this even in?
Oh wait, it's not even there. Oh, it didn't even upload.
Didn't load.
Ah.
I got to listen. I was sending around a bicep pic to a couple people just to give them a little preview of the unveiling.
Oh.
I don't know if it's the lighting in my living room, but I look good.
That's a good mantra. That's
Look
good.
good.
No, what did you say
The
the first
lighting?
part? Yes.
Yeah,
I don't know
no,
if it's the
seriously,
lighting in the room.
I'll bring you to the spot.
That's
and
awesome.
we'll take our photos there. I don't know how to pronounce this name, but we're going to go with it. So for Miguelito's mantras,
Ito.
sponsored by El Cholito, Carlos, you can't ignore reality. You can ignore reality, but you cannot ignore the consequences of ignoring reality.
I love that one.
That's a good one.
That is.
Think about that one.
That is good. As always, my brother, it was a pleasure. Don't leave me hanging here on the fist bump. Still COVID, though.
Was that
so
a rollie?
stay over there. Until next time, stop snoozing.
Get up and get after it. I got to get out of these pants. They're killing me. That's another Epi in the books. Go follow us on Instagram and Facebook at No Snooze Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, No Snooze. Come on.